Back to Tank contains adult language and discussions. If you're easily offended, do not continue.
We would be honored if you would join us.
How are you feeling? Your latest workups on your condition indicate that all damage has been reversed. Recovery is total. I believe you have been quite fortunate. No further thanks are necessary, Commander, but you are most welcome. It is my function and pleasure as a medical droid to help and heal human beings.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
All right, hello everybody. This is Star Wars From the Back to Tank, the Star Wars Rebels edition. Very first broadcast for the Star Wars Rebels edition. We talked about, I believe, in the last show that we're going to be doing that. Did we say this on air, David, or was this kind of discussion off the air?
No, this was on the air.
Was it? Okay.
We talked about doing a show based on Rebels.
I just feel like we have to, because we do the Star Wars shows, we do the Star Wars update, but we needed a specific show where we can really delve into each episode of Rebels, because I wasn't really prepared at how good the show was going to be. I was like, oh, it's going to be a cartoon. Okay.
I don't think anybody was prepared, dude. Those last couple episodes were just phenomenal.
Yeah, man, especially the last 3 episodes, which I want to break down and get into them. But the purpose of this show, again, just to kind of reiterate and clear and make sure everyone knows what to expect, is a Star Wars Rebels discussion on the current episode for the week. So you can look for these episodes, our show here, coming out every Tuesday evening. It'll be available. And we're going to just jump into the episode, break it down, discuss what we liked about it, maybe what we didn't like about it, and then we'll go from there. So after several weeks away, Star Wars Rebels has returned with a new episode that was one of their best yet.
Oh, yeah.
Star Wars Rebels news. Now, Star Wars Rebels Season 2 is set to debut its first episode next April at Star Wars Celebration 2015 in Anaheim. So that's kind of cool that they're already setting that up. I mean, Season 1 is not even halfway over yet, and they're already letting you guys know that in 4 months, basically, 4 months, we're going to see the premiere of Season 2 already. So I wonder how fast they're making these.
Oh, they're doing pretty fast.
You think they're just slapping them out?
They're burning away on this one because I think everyone is just rushing right now because December is just around the corner, so everyone's gearing up for that.
Oh, Force Awakens.
You got to remember, this whole year is Star Wars year.
Yeah, it's gonna be huge.
Yay!
Was that Chewie or Dustin Lucas?
That was me.
It kind of sounded like Chewie.
That was awesome.
So, and David, you are on a mission for the next couple of weeks.
Yes,
you
I
are
am.
going to try to get us to the Star Wars Celebration.
Yes, I am. In April, we're going to hopefully be there as media.
Yeah. Press.
For press.
Yeah.
As press to do the Star Wars Celebration. And honestly, I've been looking at a lot of the things. This year is going to be big. Yeah. Especially for Rebels, because there's so many things that are going on just for Rebels.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. Dustin, if you can come out, I know I mentioned Phoenix Comic-Con, but maybe you can choose between the two and find out which one you want to come out to more. We'll try to figure it out.
Okay.
Okay, so according to StarWars.com, fans can attend a panel for Rebels' second season premiere with executive producer Dave Filoni and stars Freddie Prinze Jr., which is Kanan, Vanessa Marshall, and Ty Sircar? Is that how you say that? Or Sircar?
Sircar.
Tia. It's Tia Sircar. Sorry, that's Sabine. Does anybody know what she looks like? I'm just assuming she might be hot since she plays Sabine.
She looks nothing like her character.
That sucks. Steve Blum is Zeb, and Taylor Gray plays Ezra, as well as other special guests that will discuss the series. Not only will they show the season 2 premiere at the next year's Star Wars Celebration, but the exclusive sneak peeks at what's to come in the upcoming season. It's worth noting that we haven't gotten Rebel Season 1 finale date yet. That has not been released. But this news is at least indicates the season will wrap up by April. I'm assuming, right? We're assuming that it's going to have to wrap by April if they're going to show season 2 already.
Yeah.
The premiere, because that'd be an awful spoiler for everybody out there. Damn it, I haven't seen the last episode yet.
Yeah, that'd be so messed up. But I mean, you kind of got the feeling from the last couple episodes they are starting to gear down, and I think that basically probably 3 more episodes we'll probably get a really good gauge of like what the finale is going to encompass.
Yeah, for sure. Now let's talk about what we've seen so far. Let's just segue on over to this. Now, normally we're not going to really discuss that because we're going to be covering each episode as they come. But since we didn't do the first half of the season, let's kind of talk about what we've seen and kind of just discuss it as like almost like a round table, you know, the ups, the pros, the cons, what we like best, what we hope we see more of, okay? Now, in my personal opinion, the last 3 episodes I think have been the most relevant when you're talking about the Star Wars universe. I think you had, obviously, the movie, the 2-hour premiere, or the 1-hour premiere, obviously, it was relevant, it was important. And then we've had several good episodes that were entertaining, but I think they've really hit home runs with the 2-part season, mid-season finale, and then, of course, the season premiere.
Yes.
Do you agree with that?
I do agree with that because, like, the last 2 episodes, that season finale, the 2-part, I think it was called Path of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The premiere, you mean?
I think it was it was
this last episode.
This last episode.
Yeah, the mid-season premiere, yeah.
The mid-season premiere. That one, I dig that because they finally started dealing with the mythos. They started dealing with, they returned to what me and you talked about, what we were hoping for is kind of a return to like a mystical element.
Yeah. Don't get into it too much.
Yeah. So exactly.
No blasters. No blasters.
No blasters.
But so what we've seen, I mean, and you guys can jump in. I think so far what they have delivered, except there was a few elements that they throw in that are kind of hokey here and there, but nothing like they had in the first season of Clone Wars. There's nothing that makes me want to turn it off. And I think what they've laid out, the groundwork, the writing, you can see that they have a clear path. They have a clear path as to where they're going to go with this series. And that's something, again, I hate contrasting Clone Wars because I don't want people thinking I didn't like it. But with Clone Wars, I didn't feel like they had a definitive plan. It was all, and that's something that I think plagued the prequels in general. There was always that foreshadowing of we know what's going to happen.
Yes.
And we, like, even with Clone Wars, you're watching, yeah, okay, yeah, you know, you have a Padawan, what's going to happen to her in Revenge of the Sith? Are you going to kill her? Like, what's going to happen? You're going to turn bad. There's always that foreshadowing that kind of took away a lot, and they kind of played on the foreshadowing a lot, whereas with this show, they're not playing on foreshadowing. We know that Luke's going to pop up, but they're not playing on that. This is 100% original, unique, except for, of course, the Star Wars universe and the politics that's going on in the universe. That's obviously, they have to keep that.
Yes.
But I feel like they have a definitive plan of action. They have a point A, a point B, and a point C, and they're making those strides to get there with little effort. It seems like they're doing a very good job.
Well, dude, it's linear storytelling. I mean, if you look at
it's very
Clone
straightforward.
Wars,
Yeah.
If you look at Clone Wars, it's sporadic. It's everywhere. Every episode could have stood on its own, and that was the whole point, was to tell all these little tales what's going on during Clone Wars. Rebels is different. This is actually the storyline element is okay. The Rebel Alliance is supposed to grow out of this. How? And the thing I really do agree with you is the fact that everything just feels like you're actually being told a story.
Yeah, it's something we haven't seen before because this is a very small, and also another thing is that they're not giving you this grand scope of the Rebel Alliance forming. They're giving you a small, this is how Rebel Alliances start.
Yeah.
Like they haven't really grouped together to a giant military force yet. This is one little militia, if you want to call them that, that's just working together, kind of like causing, almost like a gnat bite, kind of causing an irritation, kind of almost like testing the waters as to what's going to make the Empire react.
Well, they're basically terrorists at this point.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Exactly.
And it takes place in such a small area, too. This story takes place on the Outer Rim, just that section.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful.
I love it. I mean, I think they should rename it called Star Wars ISIS. I think that'd be sweet.
Oh, no, man.
No? Star Wars, How about Star Wars Taliban?
No.
Taliban. How about
Taliban?
ISIL? No?
Too far, Mike.
That was too far.
So, you know what? And I honestly, again, I think they kind of shot themselves in the foot. Even though I love the 1 hour premiere, I finally saw the premiere as it was intended, with the opening scene with the Inquisitor and Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And they should have just showed that. I know they wanted to kind of give something to people to watch it on ABC, and say, hey, guys, here it is again. But I didn't realize how much you lost from the premiere when they take that out, because every Star Wars adventure always starts with the bad guys first, always. And I liked how they started it with the premiere with the Inquisitor, and also it sets the tone, because now you get what the Inquisitor is supposed to do, how Darth Vader actually, and you also know why Darth Vader's not handling it. Because remember, that was a question we had. Darth Vader's the one who hunt down the Jedi, right? Well, he has his own force, his own little military, or I guess soldiers, elite soldiers, which is the Inquisitors, that do his bidding. And that when he gave them the order of saying, your mission is to hunt down basically the children of the Jedi, it just set the tone so much better for the series, because then now it makes sense why the Inquisitor is on this planet, and he kind of knows about them, a little bit. And obviously, I'm sure he feels disturbances in the forest and whatnot. So
yeah, from that point of view, yeah, definitely, I can definitely understand that, because I never actually realized that. Yeah, in all the Star Wars, even in Clone Wars, now that I think about it, the villains really do set the tone.
Mm-hmm.
Going back, looking at it, remember, I even said that opening just seemed a little off.
Yeah, it just goes right to Ezra.
It goes to Ezra, and it didn't have that same feel. But when you saw the ABC, it was actually pretty more badass.
Yeah,
by letting the villains set the tone.
Yeah, it was really good, and that's one thing. And let's go around the room and talk about the Inquisitor. But I don't think the Inquisitor can be any more perfect, in my opinion.
He's so badass.
He is one of the best made villains.
And Isaacs, Jason?
Jason Isaacs.
Jason Isaacs is such a good actor. I really want him to actually be in Star Wars, because he's that good. And to attract that type of talent, they needed someone like that to do this voice. And I mean, I can almost see his facial expressions.
Jason Isaacs.
I can see Jason Isaacs in the Inquisitor's facial expressions. I mean, that's how good he is at his voiceover work that he does. It's just everything about the I love that they're not making him Sith, according to Dave Filoni, that you're exploring something slightly different that we haven't seen before, that he's just a dark side wielder. I like that he's powerful, but he's not all powerful. It kind of gives it, I mean, because I think if Darth Vader went up against Kanan would be dead in a heartbeat.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And it also doesn't change things, like Luke's supposed to be this all-powerful Jedi, right?
Yeah.
The one who's going to be helping in the New Hope, right?
Yeah.
So
oh my God.
I like that they're not overplaying the characters. They're kind of making this the B Squad, not in a bad way, but they're making this the B Squad. You have Kanan, who's a Padawan, reject.
Yes.
Basically never became a Jedi. You have a Padawan basically teaching another Padawan. So they're never going to be that as powerful as, say, Luke, necessarily. And if they are, then so be it. But then you have the Inquisitor, who's also the B Squad, who's not Darth Vader. So it kind of puts everybody on a level playing field, so it's more realistic. Because we wouldn't believe Kanan would last 2 seconds against Darth Vader.
No. And that's the thing I really was worried about in the very beginning, because when you first see the Inquisitor, he's an utter badass. He literally just schools Kanan in the very beginning.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, they probably made this character too powerful. But as the story went along, you kind of understand that, just like what you say, Kanan is not. He's not really a Jedi Knight.
Yeah.
He's a Padawan. He doesn't know his complete training.
Yeah, he never finished.
So you expect him to lose against even the Inquisitor.
Yeah.
And if Darth Vader showed up, that's the end game. There's no way he would survive.
Don't go nowhere. More Back to Tank is coming right up.
don't miss a very special Star Wars From the Back to Tank, when we welcome John Jackson Miller, the writer of the Star Wars Rebels prequel, Star Wars A New Dawn.
It's not the new EU because the old EU was never canon according to the way that they've described things.
Okay.
Yeah. And the thing is, I wasn't approached to do that. I was approached to write a novel that would be a prequel to the Rebels TV series that would be set in between Episode 3 and Rebels, telling about the Empire in this period and what it was like to live in this time, and also showing the first meeting of the two Rebels principals.
Yeah.
But there wasn't anything about any change to the process, or rather any change to the canon described to me then. And why did they do this? It's very simple. It's because they want to make sure that they have as much room when they're making these new movies. Not just 7, 8, 9, but also the standalone movies that they're talking about doing. They need to have as much freedom to tell the best story that they can.
Yes. Go to RainManWasHere.com for more details.
Hello, this is Stormtrooper 1. This is just a friendly reminder. Please leave us a review on Stitcher. Go to Stitcher.com and search From the Back to Tank. Every review left helps us get seen by more people. And we thank you so much. Remember, go to Stitcher.com and search From the Back to Tank. Thank you.
It's just so smiling to see in your side.
Hey, you're not supposed to be in the studio.
Whoops!
See that red light? Yeah, that means I'm live and on the air.
This is very, very bad.
Get out.
And then let's get into the two-part season, mid-season finale. Now, okay, we saw yet another awesome fight against the Inquisitor and Kanan and Ezra, all of them. And I just love the sheer grittiness of Kanan's character, man. I like that he's losing with the lightsaber, so he pulls out his blaster, which is which is a Jedi no-no, man. They don't use blasters. They use
so uncivilized.
Yeah, they use lightsabers, but it shows that he's rough around the edges and that he spent the last 15 years pretending not to be a Jedi, and he goes for the easy way out with the lightsaber or with the blaster.
With the blaster.
Yeah, I mean it's fun what they're doing with this, and you've noticed with these last two episodes, they kind of brought a dark element in with Ezra, which is fun because it's something we've never really explored with Luke. We explored it with Anakin, and we already knew what was going to happen. Now we're not sure what's quite going to happen with Ezra. For all we know, he could end up being a bad guy. I mean, look how which I thought was just brilliant, how he unwillingly tapped into the dark side, which I didn't realize that can happen. I thought you have to really focus on it and want to do it. He just tapped into it accidentally and summoned this giant monster from deep within the cave, and he didn't even know it. And I just love Kanan's reaction when he knew what was happening, and the fact that even the Inquisitor was taken back and was like, "Oh shit," and like kind of and backs away. Do you think this is setting the precedence that possibly Ezra is more powerful than we may have led to believe?
I don't.
Absolutely.
The funny part is, I don't think that. I actually think when you see that, it kind of pushed the element that the Force is a bit more malleable, because you got to remember in Clone Wars, they really forced the whole thing that there's a light side and a dark side, and that's it. Mm-hmm. And you make a choice. Mm-hmm. You make a clear-cut choice. Here, we're being shown, no, wait, it's different now. It's more malleable. it's easier to fall to the dark side because those emotions are easy to tap into.
Right.
Anger, fear, and vengeance are all easily embraceable.
Yeah.
It's much harder to embrace the other side.
Yeah.
So
and it may show just, it's something, and I agree with that. It also could show the fact that these are just, again, untrained Jedi with no real masters.
Exactly.
And they may not even realize that something they may do is not necessarily the Jedi way. And it may not be a bad thing. So what if you use a little bit of anger? As long as you stay, why can't you have that gray area?
Yeah.
Well, Ezra grew up as, on the streets stealing and, causing mayhem, and he obviously had force powers. He just didn't know what they were yet.
Yeah. So, there is a little bit of mystery behind his parents, as we learned. So we may learn that there's a lot more to him, and I think there has to be. Especially, which I don't want to jump too much in this new episode quite yet, but even with the Jedi Temple being there on that planet that he's from, and the mystery behind his family and how they were kind of like pre-Rebel Alliance as well, I think we're going to learn a lot more about his history. We're going to find out. I think we're going to find out that he's of importance.
I honestly do, and I really do hope. Just the way that how the episode went, and there was that one scene with Ezra talking to a certain someone in a room. Not going into further details, but that whole sequence, it made me want to say, I want to see what exactly happened on this homeworld. Because it could actually answer a couple questions that we had since Revenge of the Sith, which is, okay, are we going to see the very beginnings of the Empire where they just blew everything away?
Mm-hmm.
Like we always had that feeling that Darth Vader went on this scorched earth policy.
Right.
He went through and just burned the galaxy. And the way that Ezra acts in that scene, it's like, I think we're going to get tapped into that. And how cool would it be to actually, that's how we're going to see Darth Vader in this series, is through flashbacks.
Yeah.
So seeing how the Empire can grow could actually be really interesting.
Yeah. Now, Dustin, before we move on, is there anything you want to add to these past episodes?
Well, before the end of the year, you asked me if I had watched these yet.
Yeah.
So I just binge watched all of them, and I could not stop watching it.
They're that good, right?
That good.
It's so good. The voice acting, the animation, the graphics, it's mind blowing. And there's moments in this series that remind me of watching the original Star Wars. Like, you actually get kind of pumped and motivated, inspired. It's amazing.
I agree.
I can't believe it. It's so awesome.
I agree, and that's why when I was talking to you about it, Dustin, you never really made a reaction. Now I know why. I thought I was just being stupid and childish, but now it makes sense why you didn't respond. but because I felt like I was alone here, man. Because it's just, obviously, you go on the internet, Star Wars Rebels is a hit.
Yes.
It's way bigger than, there's all the naysayers have completely shut down. Because
there's nothing bad to say about it.
There really isn't.
You can't.
Yeah, you could say, there's some kiddie elements. Well, it's on Disney. It's a cartoon. So, but in my opinion, this is less cheesy than Clone Wars.
But dude,
and it's a new story.
Yeah.
It's all new. It's being told very well.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, it really is.
And even those kiddie elements that you bring up, there was kiddie elements in the last couple episodes, but even those kiddie elements, the dialogue, just how well written it was,
right,
made it feel epic.
Right. And it doesn't, and it's just one, and you realize Kanan isn't goofy. Hera isn't goofy. Ezra isn't goofy. There's certain little situations that they do it smart. They give you the C-3PO R2 moments from the original that were silly, but they didn't take you out of the story.
I love Chopper.
Yes, right? Like, that's how you do a droid right. And, people were saying, well, another astromech droid at first, but now they're realizing that they have done such a good job with creating a new astromech that's nothing like R2.
Yeah.
He's like an angry old mechanic is what he's like.
Yeah. Yes.
And
exactly what he is.
And how brilliant is it that it can come, they actually, with him uttering no dialogue, they actually can portray that on screen, that we all get that.
Yeah.
I love it. All right. On that note, we do need to jump into the main portion of the show, which we're going to be discussing Star Wars Rebels review / discussion, Episode 8, Path of the Jedi. Now, Path of the Jedi is the 8th episode of the first season of the animated television series Star Wars Rebels. This episode was written by Charles Murray and directed by the show's executive producer, Dave Filoni. Path of the Jedi was released on Disney XD, obviously, on January 5th. Now, synopsis. In this episode, Kanan Jarrus and his Padawan, Ezra Bridger, travel to a Jedi temple on Lothal. That's how they're saying it, right? Lothal. Where Bridger can test his readiness to be trained as a Jedi. Bridger makes his way through the temple alone and confronts his fear of abandonment, manifested through visions of the Inquisitor killing his friends. Along the way, both Bridger and Jarrus, who must also confront his own fears of inadequacy as a teacher, are guided from afar by Jedi Master Yoda. In the end, Bridger passes the test and receives a kyber crystal and builds his own lightsaber. Now let's break this down. Awesome. It really was awesome. Now, the also famous test is what I put in the show notes. As soon as Kanan was like, "Well, we're gonna have you, we're gonna do a test," I'm like, first thing I thought was the cave. You remember your failing in the cave? Yeah. That's the first thing I thought, man. And Luke's little bitch face where he's all like, your blaster you'll not need. And he just takes it anyways like a chump. Dude, that always bothered me. He's such a dick. Like, Yoda's all, your blaster you don't need. And he just looks at him and walks away and puts the blaster out anyways.
Yeah, but what the hell do you know, Yoda?
Exactly.
What are you, some kind of Jedi master or something?
Oh, man. So that's the first thing I thought of. And I was so excited because I immediately knew we were going to jump into, like you were said at the beginning, the mythos, getting back to the roots of Star Wars, which is more spiritual and mythical and magical. And that's something that I always loved in Empire Strikes Back. That cave was such a mystery that it spawned so many stories in the expanded universe, and yet it's something that's always, it's like the rabbit hole for Star Wars. You go down the rabbit hole and you don't know what's in there.
Exactly.
Your fears, only what you take in there. Like, for some reason I sound like Emperor Palpatine for Yoda, but just go with it. But it's like the rabbit hole for Jedi, and you confront your fears and your tests. Now, David, you might know this. Can you die in there? Like, because I never knew that. Because I know Kanan said that these are. I don't know if he was just trying to play a trick on him and kind of get him, all feathered up for his test. But can you die in these tests?
Yeah, that's how dangerous these tests are.
According to the old expanded universe.
In the old expanded universe, there have been many stories where it's like. I remember a long time ago, I can't remember the Jedi's name, but it was like a short story. Mm-hmm. And at the very end, the Jedi fails, and you actually see him die.
Yeah.
Because he succumbs to his fear. Literally, his fear kills him.
Because Yoda says I'm getting my stories mixed up, probably, but in Empire Strikes Back, he says that the cave is the dark side, right? It's filled with the dark side?
Yeah, it's filled with dark side energy because, like, the planet itself was filled with... was like a well of dark side.
Okay. That's according to some expanded universe stories, right? Yeah. Okay.
You actually see that in Splinters of the Mind's Eye.
That's right. And that's one of those old school stories.
One of the old school stories.
Well, didn't a dark Jedi die in there or something like that? Wasn't there like some crash landing?
It was a Sith Lord. Okay. It was the resting place for a Sith Lord, and basically that's why all that dark energy collected there. Hence why Yoda decided to go hide in Dagobah, because it's the best place to hide a Jedi.
Right.
Hide in and play view of the dark side.
Put him in the dark side where he gets lost.
Yeah.
That makes sense. All right. So originally I wasn't so sure because I know they were really promoting the hell that Yoda was going to be in this, that he was going to have a guest appearance. And originally I wasn't so sure about Yoda making an appearance, but I believe that the way it was done, they did it perfect. And the writers continue to make the right decisions. Like, I keep questioning, okay, maybe they shouldn't put R2 or C-3PO in it so fast, but then the way they used them was really good. They put Bail Organa in there was really good. It wasn't, they're not forcing it. Like, remember I said it from the very beginning. We don't want, hey kids, put your hands together for Darth Vader. Like, we don't want to feel insulted. And I think the way they are giving these little head nods or these little nods, they're doing it the right way. Yeah. And the way they put Yoda in not only was done the right way to us not insulting us, it was done in a way that makes sense, and it opens up the universe that much more, especially for the new the officially labeled expanded universe of what is capable. I mean, that when Yoda said that I wasn't able to see you until now, something's changed. I mean, that was awesome, dude.
That was cool.
I mean, I got chills. I was like, dude, that is sweet.
Yeah.
And now, what did you guys get from that? Was it what changed? Was it because Kanan was taking on his responsibilities finally as a Jedi? Or was it because there's two of them now together and it's creating kind of like a positive, I guess, it's the same thing that the Inquisitor senses as possibly what Yoda's sensing. What did you guys get from that?
Yes, that's exactly what I thought. Two Jedi, well, the quote-unquote Master and Padawan, they're both entering a Jedi temple, and Yoda can sense that from far away because he is a powerful Jedi. And I guess it kind of focused the energy to where he could, pick up on that. And he knew what they were doing and thought it would be a good idea to try to help them through so they don't freaking die.
Yeah, and it shows how strong and powerful Yoda really is.
Yes.
That he can sense these people from, and it makes you kind of feel good. Like, I hate to sound so cheesy, but it makes you feel good that Yoda is still taking his responsibilities as a Jedi Master. He could be not doing anything. He could just be hanging out in Dagobah. In fact, I think that's what most people thought he was doing, is just chilling in Dagobah. Yeah. But no, he senses something and he reaches out. And it shows that it expands the universe that much more. It shows you indeed how powerful Yoda is. The fact that he can, his consciousness, his abilities can reach across the galaxy.
Well, one of the coolest things that when I was watching, I watched it with my little nephew who's like 6 years old. I looked at it and for the first time, he looked at me and says, "This is so much better than watching Yoda jumping around wielding a lightsaber. Why is that?" I had to explain to him that,
but I'm a young Padawan.
Yeah, just because you can wield a lightsaber doesn't make you powerful.
Yeah.
I told him,
war does not make one great.
He's reaching out to another being on another planet.
Yeah.
That's how powerful his powers are. He can literally see you from across the galaxy.
And I like how they're bringing that back. They're bringing the spirituality side of it back.
Exactly.
Yes, and that's something, I do like the prequels, but that's something that we did lose in the prequels, is that. I mean, I think that was one of the people's biggest bitch about, I remember Phantom Menace, when they completely killed the spirituality of the entire show, which made it so dark and that much better is that religious angle when it was midichlorians. What are midichlorians?
What you don't like Qui-Gon walking up to Anakin and giving him an injection?
Yeah, we're gonna test your blood cells for midichlorians. And in one sentence, destroyed the entire
everything.
Destroyed everything Lucas made.
But think about it, dude. I mean, thanks to this series, that completely got erased.
Yeah, but at the same time, when you really break it down, the midichlorians, it doesn't really ruin the spiritual side of things. It just kind of makes it a little more scientific as well.
I don't like it.
And
I don't like it either. I don't like it either. But it doesn't ruin it. I'm exaggerating. It doesn't take away from the religious side, but it takes away from the fun element of what I always viewed the Force as, solely spiritual, solely religious, and they kind of add a science element to it.
And honestly, I think that's what really ruined the Force from the prequels was the fact that everyone wanted their questions answered.
Yeah.
People hardcore Star Wars.
We already
trolls.
knew what the Force was. Obi-Wan said it in the first scene we saw him. We didn't even need to explain. To me, it was one of the greatest. Usually I hate exposition in movies, but it's one of the greatest deliveries of exposition to explain something so simple and yet so thoroughly you never have to explain it again. What's the Force? It's everything. It's around us. It penetrates us. It binds us. I'm like, what more do you need? The Force is an unseeable energy that controls the universe.
And the thing is like, for Star Wars trolls out there, the old trolls, they were like going, no, we need an exact answer. We need a hardcore scientific explanation of the Force.
They should have made Force an actual person. Like, hello, I'm the Force.
Yeah, and I'm
is this good enough for you losers?
Hey, congratulations, you get blood cells. It was what makes you a Jedi Knight.
Could Jedi get AIDS, or do the midichlorians fight against it?
Yeah, they get Jedi AIDS.
Jedi AIDS.
Oh shit! You don't got just get HIV. You got Jedi HIV. You're gonna die real fast.
Don't you be touching me with that Force.
That's so bad.
Put your lightsaber away around me.
Why does your lightsaber got sores on it?
Oh God.
It's burning. It's burning.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I went there.
I just got lost. I lost my whole thought.
But like,
okay, and now back to talking about spirituality.
Oh, man. All right. The only thing that it does have me, again, I shouldn't be worried anymore because I think they've proven they know what they're doing. But the only thing I get worried when things collide when in terms of New Hope. Right now in Rebels, we're 5 years before A New Hope. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's 5 years. Now,
I think it's 15. I think it's,
no, it's
I
5.
It's 15.
15, I think, was the book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we're 5 years before A New Hope. Now, I hope they find a creative way through a spinoff, through one of the spinoffs or whatever. They explain Kanan a little bit more. Like, obviously, we don't want spoilers and say the series isn't done, but Kanan is obviously this Jedi that's important in a certain aspect of this universe. Okay, but I hope it doesn't take away from Luke being the New Hope, and I hope it adds to it. They have to find a way to aid in that story to a degree because you're dealing directly with Jedis during the dark time. So there's only so much you can do with Ezra. Like the point, I mean, okay, think about it. Bear with me for a moment.
Okay.
Look at the prophecies, okay, of Star Wars in the dark time and Luke being the New Hope for the Rebel Alliance and for the galaxy and for good side. Now, where does Ezra and Kanan fit in this? They're fighting the same battle in an essence. They're fighting the same battle as Luke Skywalker will eventually. So it's a very slippery slope when tackling this because you can't overshadow what Luke will do.
Well,
does that make sense? No,
it does make sense, but I mean, they do explain the fact that the prophecies, even like if we just take the 6 movies currently,
right? And they kind of fixed it by a prophecy that we might have misinterpreted.
Yeah, I mean, in the end of Revenge of the Sith, the Emperor literally says the children of Skywalker cannot live,
right? Because
they will be the most powerful Jedi. Because what they're trying to say is basically just like what we touched on it earlier. Kanan cannot stand up to Darth Vader. There's no way.
Mm-mm.
He's not powerful enough. Now, however, because Luke is Darth Vader's son, he can actually be more powerful than his father because it's the son-father thing. The way I see it, Kanan and Ezra fit in as kind of like this is a way of them saying that there's other Jedis out there. The Force is still out there, and it's a beginning.
Which always kind of rubbed me the wrong way when they always you were led to believe there's one Jedi. When after you saw the prequels and there's millions of Jedi, pretty much, thousands and thousands of Jedi, I'm like, the likelihood of them catching every single Jedi, and then of course all the people who are born with the Force, who are born Force sensitive, it does make sense that people will be born with the Force and that the light will never be completely extinguished.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying is we can't overshadow Luke and the Skywalker purpose, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it just like Yoda has now had contact with Ezra and Kanan.
Right.
Well, in Return of the Jedi, when he's about to die, he says, when I die, the last of the Jedi will you be.
That's true. But they're not Jedi.
Leia.
You're right. And you know what? Also, you can also look, George Lucas splitting hairs 101 right here. Because it's what he did to explain his own, his own.
MacGuffin?
Yeah. I mean, yes, Yoda did say that last of the Jedi you'll be, but then is Kanan really a Jedi? He's not really a Jedi.
No, he isn't.
If you read the books in what's called now, I forgot what it's called now, A New Dawn,
yes.
They explain his story that he was actually a Padawan when his masters, when Execute Order 66 started, and he basically ran as a teenager, he escaped, and basically never even became a Jedi. So he's a Padawan, so you can be a Force wielder of good and of light, but will you truly be a Jedi?
A Jedi. Being a Jedi
it's like the
Knight,
opposite of an Inquisitor.
Exactly.
Wow, look at you drawing those conclusions. That's a good point, too.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
And that's what I mean. Is kind of like you can actually see the fact that just like what you brought up, Das, because I already thought about the trolls basically say, well, Yoda said there's only the last of the Jedi. He is. Yeah, he is the last of the Jedi. You know why? Because he was taught by 2 Jedi masters.
Yeah. And just like the Sith, there can only be 2. Look at the Inquisitors; they're not Sith.
They're not
Sith. So maybe this is what they're doing. They're taking a page from the Sith explanation.
Yeah, and I mean, all the Jedi Knights were all slaughtered. Yeah. I mean, they were just blasted away by
even that little kid that Bill Organa yelled for.
Exactly.
I still laugh at that.
But just like what you said, Force users, they're not Jedi Knights. Kanan is not a knight by any means.
Well, look at Princess Leia. I mean, she knows how to use the Force. Towards the end of Return of the Jedi, and even Empire Strikes Back, she's talking to Luke. She's not a Jedi.
She's not a Jedi.
Force sensitive. So stupid. Kind of like dick sensitive.
Really?
I don't know. I had to go there. All right. Now, Bridger's journey as a Jedi, he now has constructed a lightsaber. Now, that's a big thing. And anybody that knows Star Wars, which I'm pretty sure if you're watching Star Wars Rebels, you get, that's an important thing. Even Darth Vader in Return of the Jedi, he's all, so you constructed a new lightsaber. That's a level up. That's XP points times 5,000. When you're able to construct a lightsaber, that's a big deal. And now it brings up the question, going back to Ezra and his thing, he's progressing very fast. Okay, he's constructed a lightsaber. Obviously, time has gone by in this, but even though the fact that he's able to build, he got his crystal and he constructed his own lightsaber, it's definitely showing and kind of paving the way that Ezra is going to be a powerful Jedi, maybe even more powerful than Kanan. I mean, look what he did with the Inquisitor, going back to that. The fact that he summoned the dark side and then it was so powerful that he blacked out. I mean, that's a big deal. And then now he's constructing his own lightsaber. I think they're paving the way for Ezra to be either some ultimate good or, who knows, another ultimate failure.
Yeah. And the thing is, I keep telling people, don't call Ezra a Jedi Knight, because he's not going to turn into a Jedi.
A Jedi Knight?
He's not going to turn into a Jedi because he's not being trained by a Jedi.
Yeah.
So at most, he's going to be a very powerful Force user. Just like what you said, a Force for good. That doesn't make him a Jedi Knight, though.
Well, maybe for good, because he could still use the dark side too much and then prefer it. You never know. He seems to have a love affair with the Inquisitor. I mean,
it's weird, isn't it?
Right? Doesn't it seems like he has a fear of him, of course. But at the same time, even leading up to that, I mean, the Inquisitor even offered to teach him, the first meeting, I can teach you more. He offered to teach him, and then he denied him and then was going to kill him.
Yeah.
But
even in his trials, it's kind of like, he fears the Inquisitor, but also you could kind of tell that he's fascinated by how powerful he is.
Yes. Yeah.
Because literally,
it's almost like his own obsession. Remember Luke and his obsession before he knew Darth Vader was his father? He had an obsession towards him too. In Empire Strikes Back, he had this obsession with Darth Vader. He wanted to get revenge on him for killing his parents. And I think they're kind of paralleling that with contrasting that with Ezra, because you see he has the same, I don't know if it's a healthy obsession yet, but he does definitely have some type of obsession towards the Inquisitor. Do you think we're going to find out that possibly the Inquisitor is responsible for killing his family, or if they're if they're dead? Who knows? They may not even be dead at this point, but they kind of alluded to the fact that they might be alive.
That could be really interesting. An interesting story twist. Finding out that the Inquisitor was part of his family's demise or capture or whatever.
Again, this falls into that category. I'm beating a dead horse here, but I mean, how powerful is too powerful before the Emperor and Darth Vader starts paying attention? You know what I mean? That's why you got to be careful. That's why you have to be careful with making him a little too epic. And that's just my own 2 cents. I mean...
if the Inquisitor can pick up on Ezra, I mean, Darth Vader sure as hell can.
Yeah.
And the Emperor definitely can.
And they're not bothered by it. So, I mean... in the very beginning, Vader even tells the Inquisitor, I want you to go out, kill the Children of the Light.
Yeah.
That's it. He doesn't care about the Children of the Light. enough to actually
do it
dirty his own hands, he'll send in his Inquisitor.
He's a listen. I killed a couple dozen younglings. I'm out. I'm done.
I'm done. But I think what would be interesting is like you find out there's more than one Inquisitor. Like, is he the only one?
Well, according to the rumors of Episode 7, Force Awakens, there's a whole bunch of them.
There's a whole bunch of them.
But if you want to believe those rumors, however, who knows? Why not? Inquisitor obviously isn't his name. We haven't learned his name yet. He's the Inquisitor.
No. Yeah.
So who knows? I mean, Inquisitor is a title. So I'm thinking there's more, and I think we'll probably eventually see them, and they're probably all tasked with a specific job. So, all right. Before we move on, actually, you know what? Let's do final thoughts and grade. But how do you guys? This is the first episode we're grading something. How do you want to grade this? Do you want to grade this like 1 out of 5 Bacta tanks, or do you want to do like 1 out of 5 Banta doo-doos? Like, what do you like?
No, Banta doo-doo would mean that it's terrible, dude.
I know. So the less Banta. Yeah, you know what? Let's do Bacta tanks. Let's do Bacta tanks. Or we could do minutes. How many minutes do you want to sit in the Bacta tank? And if you do 1 minute, that means it was good. If you do 2 minutes, it's like maybe 3 stars. 4 minutes, you can do that too. 5 minutes in the Bacta tank means you got heavily scarred. It was terrible, and you don't want to watch it ever again.
I can deal with that.
Yeah, I can deal with that.
Okay, so less is better in this aspect.
Less is better.
Less is better. All right, so let's start with final thoughts, David. Let's start with you. Final thoughts on this specific episode, and your grade.
Okay, my last thoughts on this episode. I really like Path of the Jedi. I like where it went. It kept a serious tone, just like what we said. And it introduced more of a darker element, a more serious element to the series than Clone Wars. I'm going to say it. Clone Wars tried to be serious and forced it.
Well, it took 4 years, too, almost.
Yeah, it forced trying to be serious. This actually flowed really well, being told as a really great, serious story. And also, a lot of people have been talking about it. Ezra's lightsaber. I dig it. I'm a big lightsaber person. About the designs that we've talked about in the past with the...
It looks like a stapler.
Yeah. Actually, dude, you know what it does? You know what? Everyone's been saying that, but I'm like, actually, if you think about it, it looks like a small blaster.
Yeah.
And I'm like going... And then when you actually see... If you go to Toys R Us and find the toy that's actually out, you actually can tell it's a saber.
Yeah.
You know, like one of those cavalry sabers.
Uh-huh.
And it's actually pretty cool. So I actually dig that. Overall, I would give this two Bacta tanks.
Okay.
I'm not going to give it
what, is
the
it
best.
4 stars then?
Yeah, 4 stars.
4 stars, 2 Bacta tanks. Okay, just so people can understand how the rating system works. Dustin, what's your final thoughts and your grade?
Okay, loved it, obviously. The thing I really like about this series and this last episode, the music, it's really on par with, the movies. It sounds like it was done by John Williams, even though I think it's not. But the lightsaber, it sounds different, which means it sounds awesome. You guys obviously heard it, right?
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's way more higher pitched, and it sounds differently when he's moving it around. I loved how iconic it was when he gets the crystal, and I love how iconic it is when he does the pose from A New Hope when he turns his lightsaber on.
Yeah.
And I don't know, as far as the Bacta tank goes, we're saying what? It's good if I want to spend a minute in there?
Yeah, only a minute because maybe you only got slightly, maybe grazed by a blaster or something. So maybe...
I just dunked my head in then.
Okay. Okay, so 1 Bacta tank. All right.
Yeah, I loved it.
Okay, now 1 minute in the Bacta tank for you. All right, so I would also say, obviously, it was a good episode. I enjoyed it. It wasn't my favorite episode. I think my favorite episode was probably the 2-part mid-season finale were my favorite. But these are definitely my second. This is definitely my second favorite episode. I love the lore that they added to the universe. Even if they didn't add it necessarily, at least they brought it back to the basics. More and more with each episode of Star Wars Rebels that comes out, you feel more and more like you're watching the original trilogy. The vibe, the feel, the tone, the music, go along with what Dustin said. The soundtrack, yeah, it isn't John Williams. You're right. But they're doing a really good job creating something that and this is what my thing was from the very beginning, is give us something that sounds Star Wars, but also give us something original. And they're creating their own original music. The Inquisitor music that pops up with the choir is fucking genius. Yes. I love it. I love his music that pops up in the background around him. The lightsaber scene when he grabs his crystal, I think I actually said, "Oh shit!" when the crystal, Yoda's voice when he says, "I've never been able to see you before." I think I said, "Oh shit!" again. I was like, I had a smile ear to ear, dude. This grin when Yoda was talking to them. I felt like a nerd when it was over because it made me feel like I was watching Star Wars, and that's what they keep doing with each episode. I think one of the best moments was the Yoda scene. Also, the Inquisitor when he twists, when the blade pops up and knocks Jarrus silly. Kanan's when he knocks the lightsaber out of his hands and then stabs him. I mean, it finally showed exactly how his lightsaber works, how it pops out and then spins, and it shows you the effect that it can do. Because people keep saying, well, why does it spin? What's the point of it? Well, you just saw it. You're in let's say you're in a lightsaber lock. You open that up and it spins and it knocks your lightsaber so fast out of your hands, so I love that. And they keep giving us more and more of that. So I'm going to go ahead and say this episode, 1 minute in the back tank. So I'll give it 4 stars. 4 stars for this episode. So
that sounds fair.
I enjoyed it. I really did like it. Next week's episode, Idiot's Array, is the 9th episode of the first season of Star Wars Rebels, and it will be released on January 19th. That's next week. And, of course, we'll be doing a show for this as well the next day. Really fast, there's not really too much on this episode yet, but Idiot's Array. Do you think we're going to get more? Dustin, we'll start with you. Do you think we're going to get more of what we've been seeing, or do you think we're going to get maybe a fun, silly episode, possibly?
I think it's going to be a fun, silly, space filler. Because now he's going to have his lightsaber, and there'll probably be a little bit more training. I don't think we're going to see anything like hardcore battles for another couple episodes.
Okay. What about you, David?
I think it is going to be a fun, silly episode just because I've seen the trailer for it. So I know what the basis of the episode is, which is, I don't know if I should say it or not, but basically they end up betting Chopper away.
Oh, really? Oh, no. So you think it's going to be a filler, funny episode?
I think it's going to be a funny episode, but the thing I'm psyched about...
Do you think we're going to have to spend at least 5 minutes in the back to tank for this one?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be as good as Path of the Jedi. But I think it's going to be kind of like a cool down period, like what Doss said. You're going to have little tidbits of Ezra getting used to actually having a lightsaber first. But I think the big push is the fact that we're going to get another callback. Because if you watch the trailer, and I encourage you guys, go out on YouTube, find the trailer for Idiot's Array, you will see a character that basically might make an appearance. And,
oh, really?
Yeah. And basically... they end up betting him away to this character.
Well, you could tell us who is it. It's all right. You can say.
Well,
spoiler here.
In the trailer, you open up with them around a card table, so to speak, and they're actually betting away. And I keep forgetting Zeb. Zeb ends up running out of credits, but he has a really great hand. So you see the side profile of this character that he's talking to.
Who do you think it is?
And it's kind of obvious it looks like Lando.
Really?
Oh, and I did read on IMDb that he is voicing Lando Calrissian.
Really?
And all of a sudden, in the very end, they get out
and
into
Lando
an
has the Millennium Falcon right now too, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, snap.
So that's why I was like, this one might be a really fun one to watch just for the callback.
Okay.
Oh my god! I just realized in A New Hope, remember the droid that shorts out on the moisture farm?
Yeah.
Maybe that's Chopper.
So stupid, is it?
Oh my god, that would be hilarious.
That's funny. That'd be sweet. Go look it up now.
But yeah, basically, if you go see the trailer, Kanan, Zeb end up betting away Chopper.
That'll be interesting.
And Chopper's pissed off.
He's always pissed off.
That's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, at the very end,
I'm sensing a new parody bit for the next show.
At the very end, Chopper is like literally. You could subtitle him when Zeb basically says, "Okay, you're in," and you don't hear Lando say anything, but basically you hear Chopper. I kid you not. I watched it. I was like going, Chopper basically saying, "What the fuck?"
Oh, simmer down, dude. Family show.
So
stupid. Yeah, the HIV and the HIV Jedi talk. Yeah, it never made the show. Never talked about that. All right. On that note, we do need to end the show for today. Thank you very much for listening to the very first Star Wars From the Back to Tank, the Star Wars Rebels edition. You can find all of our past and present shows on our website, www.fromthebactotank.com, as well as rainmanwashere.com, and Stitcher Smart Radio. Just search From the Back to Tank. I'm going to try to get us on iTunes by next week, I'm hoping. I just now realized I never did that. So we will talk to you guys next week. We have another Rebels show coming out on January 20th, and then we also have a Back to Update coming out that following Friday as well, or the Saturday. So, all right, thanks again, everybody. Bye.
Womp womp.
This is Stormtrooper 1, and if you've missed any portion of the show, you can always head over to FromTheBackToTank.com and listen to the show at your leisure. We're also on Stitcher, Smart Radio, Stitcher.com, search Bacta, and add us to your favorites. Thank you.